Welcome back. It's still VOP this morning, and the legal fireworks are expected as opposition parties seek to overturn the election victory of President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Well, the Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal, which started sitting yesterday, adjourned for pre-hearing. Now, the case filed by the Labour Party and its candidate, Peter Obi. Obi and the Labour Party filed a petition challenging the victory of Bola Tinubu, candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, in the election. And in the petition, marked Levi Ozokwe, lead counsel to LP, and Obi said Tinubu was not duly elected by the majority of the lawful votes cast at the time of the election. Now, amongst other allegations, they claimed that Kashim Shettima, vice president-elect, had a double nomination, which is in contravention of the Electoral Act. Now, that's not all. The petitioners are asking the tribunal to declare Peter Obi of the Labour Party winner of the presidential elections, or alternatively, order the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to conduct a fresh election. Now, at the pre-hearing session yesterday, Levi Ozokwe, a senior advocate of Nigeria, SAN, announced an appearance for the petitioners. Lawyers to the APC, Tinubu, and INEC informed the tribunal that they had filed separate responses to the questions raised by the petitioners in their processes. And afterwards, the 5-member panel led by Haruna Samani adjourned till Wednesday for further pre-hearing. Wednesday's date is what now? 10th.
May 10.
10th. And we're hoping that it will be concluded before May 29. Well, Esther Nwachukwu is with me this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Moses. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Very well.
It was quite a stir yesterday. There was, we've been anticipating the petition tribunal kicking off, and we could see how it started off after the judges were announced yesterday. In fact, the Justice Samani said this time around they were going to give people the justice that they require, and that Nigerians should believe in the authenticity of the judges in handling the cases. However, she said unnecessary technicalities and petitions should not be brought at the Election Petition Tribunal. So it was quite dramatic too when there was a turn yesterday, when the PDP's representative, that is Bola Tinubu's representative, PDP's representative too, in person of Simon Lalong, she said, Tinubu is not a corporation, so why are you here representing him? We're here for serious business. You don't start by that representation. So that was basically what started it off. And I think Nigerians are kind of a little bit positive with how the whole thing started off. But then there's a lot to actually see and look up to while the petition continues. Today we'll be seeing that of the People's Democratic Party and the Action People's Party too, while that of Wednesday is the Labour Party. So there's a lot to actually expect.
And some are having theirs thrown out already.
That was yesterday, the Action Alliance.
Yes, they have theirs.
So there are
they
speculations.
Just basically, stepped aside.
There's speculations
I think
too.
Going forward, some of the parties might just decide to drop their cases.
Now there are speculations too that they could be paid off to drop their cases.
Oh, come on. Well, that's not for us to decide. We do have guests on the show. We have John Akirile, public affairs commentator, joining us on the show virtually. Good morning to you, John. All right, and we also have, I think we're still trying to reconnect with John because I think he came in earlier, virtually speaking. We have Murphy Abadoni, a legal practitioner, joining us virtually as well. Good morning to you, Murphy.
Good morning to you. Good morning to our viewers.
All right, Murphy, we also expect Evans Ufeli, another legal practitioner, to join us this morning. Well, if he's in, I'm sure we'll let you know. Now, Murphy, you watched, did you follow the process yesterday? Were you following it on news outlets and all of that? What do you make of that process so far?
Thank you very much. I actually did not follow up the process to work schedule, but I think later in the day, I went online and I read from all the major available news sources. And I must say that it was a commendable one. They started very well. And I just hope that they could sustain what happened yesterday. They started with a very good note. But as time goes, then one will be able to make a proper comment on the proceedings of the tribunal as it goes.
All right, Murphy, so it was an interesting turn yesterday. You know that before the Election Petition Tribunal, would I say there's a lot of anticipation, and eventually it has come to play. And Justice Haruna Samani, who seems to be the lead justice at the Election Petition Tribunal, has actually stated that Nigerians should be rest assured that they will get the justice that they deserve, and that things will be looked into dispassionately based on, evidences provided by the petitioners and, of course, those who are actually defending the results. And it was quite an interesting one when we heard yesterday that the person of Simon Lalong, who supposedly was a representative of the All Progressives Congress. And when the state governor came up and said, I'm representing Tinubu, and she says, excuse me, you cannot represent an individual. Tinubu is not a corporation that would need a representative. When that statement was made, it seemed to give Nigerians hope. They were beginning to think that the judicial system was no longer on the side of the people, but seems to be induced in how they make their judgments. What do you take? What's your response to that?
I think the move by Governor Long, in my opinion, was actually not necessary. Was absolutely not necessary, especially at that level of the sitting of the tribunal. It was absolutely not necessary. The president-elect, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has his lawyers who were in court yesterday, and at this point, and in a tribunal like this, I don't think Lalong or other well-wishers or friends and families of the president-elect has much to do in the court, especially at the pre-hearing stages. And even irrespective of the stage, even at every point at all, they can only, I repeat, they can only come into the court to stand maybe as witnesses if the situation warrants. So I think the man was just trying to play politics, which is very common with Nigerian politicians. And also too, if he had come into the court premises as an ordinary citizen, I'm sure that wouldn't have raised an eyebrow. But coming to the court to make it look like you are representing the president-elect, for me, it's a no-no. If the tribunal requires the president or the president-elect, he will be asked to come to the court. And if it's indisposable with reasonable reasons, then it's a different ball game altogether. But also have his lawyers. That is why his lawyers are paid. That is why they've been hired to come to represent this man. That is why they are there to speak on his behalf.
But do you think that was a delay tactic, though, from Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Do you think that's a delay tactic? Because normally it seems like whenever there is a situation where he needs to be present physically, sometimes there is always a route. Something actually takes place. It's either an event precedes it that could not warrant his presence anymore, or something comes or he sends a representative. Do you think this is a delay tactic, in that proceeding from the All Progressives Congress camp or from President-elect?
Well, first of all, lawyers and their clients have a right to use whatever methods they could use to get victory in court, as much as they don't breach the laws. But I must say that to the best of my knowledge, I'm not assured that the president-elect, if I have to be honest, has evaded any invitation, either as a president-elect or even while during the campaign, any invitation that is compulsory or that is required. Otherwise, as a private citizen that he was prior to the election, I will tell you that he has every right to honor whichever invitations he wishes and to dishonor whichever invitations he wishes. That is why I said that if it becomes mandatory for him to come to the court, I think until then, I will not have much to say. But I think the move by Governor Lalong was absolutely not necessary.
All right, you made a statement just now. You said you don't think the president-elect had ever evaded when it comes to his presence being required, either during the campaign and even now that he's president-elect.
Mandatory requirements, yes.
Mandatory requirements.
Yes.
So was it not mandatory, though, during the campaigns for him to address the people, even while he got several invites from some media houses? I know that it is his right to turn down the invite if he feels that possibly there's a sense of bias in the organization that is inviting him. But don't you think he owed it to the people to address the people, not necessarily the press in context? Don't you think it is important, for him to have addressed the people when it was needed, just like all the political presidential aspirants did at the time? Because you said that you don't think he evaded. So are you saying that it was not mandatory for him to have addressed the people during the campaign?
Thank you very much. When I said it was not mandatory, I meant to say now that it didn't honor some of those invitations, because I know exactly what you are talking about.
Okay.
As he breached, the point is that he has not breached any law. He has not breached any law, and that is exactly what I'm talking about. Though as a presidential candidate then, it would have been a plus for him to attend every function that will provide him the opportunity to speak to the people. That does not, at the same time, take away his right to honor whichever one he pleases and whichever one he does not wish to honor. Then I can also go further to say that the same man who chooses not to honor some of those invitations from certain media homes also use alternative avenues to speak to Nigerians. Because coming to those media houses is supposed to be a plus, and I can repeat again, supposed to be an avenue. So if he chooses not to honor, I think that should be a plus to his opponents. That's supposed to be a plus to those who honor those invitations and those who spoke to Nigeria. So I don't see any big deal about that. It's supposed to be a plus to him, and if he chooses not to honor, it should be a plus to those who honor those invitations.
All right, Mr.
But I don't think he has breached any law by so doing as a private citizen that he was there.
All right, thank you very much. Now, this next question is concerning the People's Democratic Party. Literally, before the hearing commenced yesterday, the pre-hearing commenced yesterday, and they alleged that they have potent information from sources that the All Progressives Congress intends to induce some of the panel members at the Election Petition Tribunal, so that whatever comes out of it will, toe towards their line. And they literally said that they've actually received, in fact, it was was made by the PDP spokesperson Ologunagba, who said they received credible information that some youth who opposed the planned transitioning of Mr. Tinubu were being harassed, threatened, and attacked. So they noted that the continuous intimidation of the youth is evidence that Nigerians do not want a government controlled by the All Progressives Congress. And one would now wonder in what regard, based on what Justice Samani said when the pre-hearing commenced yesterday as to how they would ensure that all the necessary viabilities needed in this petition election court, all members who are not content with the elections would definitely get the justice that they duly deserve, so long as they provide the adequate evidence. But what do you say concerning what the People's Democratic Party has said in the allegations against the All Progressives Congress, that they are inducing members of the panel sitting in the Presidential Election Tribunal with heavy financial inducement?
Each time politicians in Nigeria talk, they will tell you they have credible evidence. Unfortunately, most of those informations and their so-called credible evidence has never sustained any court hearing. So we are used to politicians claiming they have. Don't forget, very recently, Mr. Keyamo of the ruling party of the APC also alleged that a particular political party is planning to bring in foreign lawyers. It's in the media, and I'm sure you must have seen that. But let me also state very clear, and thank God that Judges Sanami, I find it very difficult to pronounce, and made it very clear yesterday during a speech that lawyers must ensure that they don't bring in frivolous petitions, that they don't bring in issues that will waste the time of the court, that they don't bring in issues that will make the process to be burdensome. So at this point, now I think it's an indictment on even the judges. And this is one of the things I would have wanted the political parties and their lawyers to avoid. Now you are the hearing just commenced yesterday, and you're already indicting the judges. You are indicting the All Progressive Congress, and you're also indicting the judges. So it's like you have already lost faith in the court before even the commencement of the hearing. I don't think that is good enough. I don't think that is good enough at all. So far, like I said,
all right. Okay, so we have, if we look at the names of the justices that will be sitting at the Election Petition Tribunal, quite, would I say, interesting profiles that they actually have. We have the Chief Registrar of the Court of Appeal, who is Haruna Samani. We also have Justice Sivin Ada of the Court of Appeal, Asaba Division, Justice Misitura Bolaji Yusuf, Court of Appeal also of Asaba Division, and Justice Bolukuro Ugo of Kano Division, and Justice Abba Mohammed of Ibadan Court of Appeal. Now, if you look at the profile of these justices, you can actually understand the seriousness of the Election Petition Tribunal. Now, of course, before the court stood down, the 5-man panel of justices, of course, headed by the presiding justice, Justice Haruna Samani, while giving the assurance that justice will be served, said that it was important for Nigerians to ensure that unnecessary frivolous comments, unnecessary frivolous, would I say, attitudes or presentations at the court will not be tolerated. Now, we do know that Nigerians have not been comfortable with the judicial process or the court's, the court injunctions that have been given recently. Do we think with these judges that have been put together for the Election Petition Tribunal that there's a possibility that that image, that perception will be redeemed? Do we think so? Do you think so?
Well, as a matter of fact, as a society and as a people, I have always said that Nigerians must begin to understand that in politics, you lose sometimes and you gain sometimes. It's unfortunate that in Nigeria, immediately after election, every loser goes to court to challenge the victory. of the winner. It's quite unfortunate. And that is the more reason why I pity our judges. Because some of those cases that goes to court shouldn't even be there. Then when you talk about some recent court pronouncement that has not been favorable to some people, or that some people has not find it very easy. I can also tell you that in every court pronouncement, there are those who celebrate and there are those who mourn. Once it favors your party or your group, then the judiciary becomes the hope of the common man. Once it does not favor your political party and your group, then it means that the judiciary is no longer reliable. So at this point, I will use this opportunity to say again that we need to believe in the judicial system. Politicians must also begin to work on themselves. Politicians must begin to understand when they have lost and inform their followers and supporters adequately enough. You mustn't go to court for every election loss.
No.
And I am saying again, that it is too early in the day for us to begin to judge this tribunal and their judges.
Okay, now
and their
don't
justices.
you think?
So
don't you
let's be
think,
patient and see how it goes.
Okay, so don't you think it is like this? Nigerians are quick, politicians are quick to run to the courts because the processes are not plain and plain enough for people to see. When elections are held and ballot boxes are snatched, people are beaten up, and people are disenfranchised intentionally. I mean, if it was the other way around, where votes are cast, peacefully, and everyone that comes out cast their votes and go back and results come out, I don't think politicians would want to contest those results in court. But don't you think the reason politicians are quick to contest results in court is because they know that it is who throws his weight around on the day of election, who orders his boys around, are the ones that ultimately win elections. Maybe that's why they decide to contest it in using the courts of law. Don't you think so?
That is why I always advocate too, that in ensuring that we make Nigeria a better place, in ensuring that we get a better society, that society that we desire, it is also paramount that we all as a people work towards the betterment of the society. And that is when you talk about throwing of ballot boxes and those things we see during elections, all the political parties have their talks.
Now,
all the political parties have their supporters whom in the bid to prove or show their loyalty to their party and their leader will go extra mile to do certain things that sometimes may contravene the law. It's just to make their party victorious at the election. So in this case, I'm trying to say, even the election that just took place, the February 25th presidential election, virtually all the political parties committed these atrocities in one form or the other in various jurisdictions. And that is why after elections, both those who have won and those who have lost usually proceed to court. And I want to state it categorically clear that the moment you have no faith in the judicial system, then there is no reason ab initio proceeding to the court. If you proceed to the court, it means that you must have some level of faith in the system and not to go to court and at the same time begin to condemn the system even before the hearing of the petition. So I'm saying that our politicians too have a major role to play, irrespective of the political party, whether it is APC, whether it is PDP, or whether it is Labour Party. The politicians and their party leadership has a major role to play.
Yes, the politicians
that is what
have
I'm
a major
saying.
role to play, and the courts also has its own role to play to, pass.
If the politicians play their roles very well, the court will be less burdened with some of these bogus petitions that comes to court. You need to even pity our judges.
Mr.
Bogus petitions. Petitions that shouldn't even go to court have been issued. Some of them are there. They are pushed to the court.
Mr.
Because don't forget, the politics in Nigeria also, one way or the other, whether you like it or not, those who play politics and those who have money bags, they all have money to throw about. They all have money to go to court.
Mr. Murphy.
Even when they are sure they are not going to win their petitions, but they have money to throw about. I'm with you.
Mr. Murphy, you just said something that you don't understand why whenever we have elections in this part of the world, that we have a lot of petitions against. We never accept, or let me not use the word we. Opposition never accept defeat, especially those who got defeated. That they always, overwhelm the petition election tribunal with a lot of bogus petitions. Are you saying that if a particular political party is not content with the process of how the elections went, or possibly they found that they had evidences of discrepancies that led to the emergence of any political party being, or any political party presidential aspirant eventually becoming the president-elect, that they shouldn't take their case to the election petition tribunal?
They should. And of course, that is why there is a court process that is provided for those who disagree with the outcome of our elections. That is why the court is there. But I am saying that if our politicians behave themselves, there will be less petitions that will go to court. I don't know if you are getting, that is the point I'm making here. The court is there for that. And it is there because after elections, there are those that will not disagree with the outcome. But I'm saying that there are those who should have no business going to court after elections.
Okay.
That's just what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying it is wrong to go to court.
All right. So let's continue with this. We have Bayo Onanuga saying that the Labour Party presidential aspirant and the People's Democratic Party presidential aspirant should do themselves the good deed by working together with President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And what he's literally saying is they should drop whatever petitions they have. All right, from the Petition Election Tribunal, they should let it down and work along with Bola Ahmed Tinubu, questioning the reason why they are opposing him. The question I'm throwing to you now is that, are the opposition political parties contesting the emergence of President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu, are they against him as an individual, or are they against the process that made him emerge as a president-elect? Because it's important for us to clarify or give a distinction. Some individuals think that possibly the Labour Party presidential candidate as well as the People's Democratic Party presidential candidate have something personal against the president-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So I need you to distinguish, is it a personal situation or it's about the entire process that led to him emerging as a president-elect?
The last part of your question I didn't get very clearly. The earlier stage I got you when you made reference to the position of my brother and friend Bayo Onanuga.
Yes.
But the last part of it I didn't get very clearly.
Okay, Bayo Onanuga is literally advocating that the opposition political party president.
Yes, I got that part. I got that part. The later part of your question was what I didn't get.
We have a lot of critics who think that, the Labour Party presidential candidate as well as the People's Democratic presidential candidate has something personal, against the president-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And I'm asking you, do you think it's a personal situation about the individual, like an individual Peter Obi and the individual President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu, or is there a contentious situation at the Election Petition Tribunal about the process that led to his emergence as a President-elect? It's important for us to give that distinction.
No. I don't think it should be appropriate for us to begin to go personal here. First of all, these persons are members of political parties who bought forms from their political parties to contest the presidential elections because they wish or they intend to be president. They intended to win the elections and become president. So they didn't contest the elections because they didn't like Bola Ahmed Tinubu, or they didn't contest because they have grudges with him. It is just normal. And at this point, they are contesting the outcome of the election as presidential candidates of their political party. So I don't think it is personal. I don't think it should even be personal. The only concern I have, which I've raised here, is that, and that is why I'm going to agree again with Bayo Onanuga. Even if I will see that as a mere advice, that they can as well put aside their grievances, put aside their court cases, and team up with the president-elect to move Nigeria forward. That is a fantastic advice. But that is also up to those challenging the victory of the president-elect, former President Atiku Abubakar, and the Labour Party's candidate to decide. After all, yesterday, a political party withdrew their petition in the tribunal yesterday. That is just one of what Bayo is trying to talk about. So if they choose, it's a way forward for Nigeria, and that will also lessen the burden on the court. And that will also help to drop away all these brouhaha about this party says this party doesn't say this, the judiciary is this. But it is their right to go to court. They have gone to court, and they have a right to be heard, and the court will decide. It is not personal, and I don't think it should be personal. But they must be patient and wait for the outcome of the court, because they have gone to court. If you don't have hope, if you don't have faith in the court, you should not have gone there ab initio. Let's be patient, because as leaders, as political leaders, we must be mindful of our utterances, and that is one of the things that the judge said yesterday. Because whatever you say goes a long way to be misinterpreted by your followers.
All right.
So you must be cautious. Exactly.
Okay, Mr. Badani, before I let you go, this question, the Code of Conduct Bureau has actually warned that without asset declaration, no elected public official would be sworn in on May 29. All right. Now we're awaiting the asset declaration of President-elect, his vice Kashim Shettima. Do you think they would declare all their assets? Because the president-elect has a lot of assets. Same thing too as vice president-elect Kashim Shettima has a lot of assets. Do you think they would declare all their assets, or possibly just some assets, to appease the Code of Conduct Bureau so that they can be sworn in on May 29?
First of all, you said the president-elect and his vice has a lot of assets. Do you know any of the presidential candidates, especially the first three, that does not have a lot of assets? Is it Atiku Abubakar? Is it Peter Obi of Labour Party that does not have a lot of assets? So the issue is this: there is a law, and the law is what matters here. And let me also say that I am not the president-elect, neither am I Shettima. And so I cannot sit down here and tell you that I think that they will declare all of their assets or they will not. But I'm sure that they would want to be law-abiding. They will want to follow the due process. And I believe they will declare their assets according to law. President Muhammadu Buhari did, Osinbajo did. They all belong to the same political parties, and to a reasonable extent, maybe they share some ideologies together. So I want to hope that they would declare their assets. And if they don't, then the agency of government then has a job to do.
All right.
All right then. Mm-hmm. Well, we saw some time back a politician declared way more than he had, and at the end of the day, it was discovered that he declared too much, and he was asked to squeeze it in and declare the actual thing, because that was probably done in hopes that by the time he's leaving office, he would have a whole lot more. Anyway, we must say a very big thank you to you, legal practitioner Murphy Abadoni. Thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you too.
All right then. Well, I come in peace. Well, that seems to be what Peter Obi was saying in his visit to Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka. But has the peace treaty or visit or gift been accepted? We'll have that conversation after this short break.